up, Sofa Squad? We are live with another edition of Shooting the Shit.
No shit was harmed in the making of this broadcast. Sadly.
Sadly. And this is number 8. This is the 8th one.
Really? Only the 8th one?
Yeah, I haven't been doing it that long. And
that's what she said.
and it's only the 8th one. And I'm here with Cynese.
Because where would your streams be without me?
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
And well, I actually I'd be all on my own without you tonight. But
yeah, and where's the fun in that?
Yeah. Except we've got Greg in the side chat, so
as always,
Greg, as always. So big hello to Greg, my one and only patron.
Eventually that'll change. Maybe I'll do something outlandish on a stream. We'll go viral, and then you'll get more patrons.
Hopefully.
Well, maybe not that outlandish. I'm not trying to get you struck down or anything. I'm not that mean.
I appreciate it. They say Stool will take over.
Stool. Oh no. Oh, Stool.
Oh, talking of which, I'm hiding behind the fridge. What, my fridge?
Are you sure you want to be behind the fridge, Stool? My apartment has roaches. You sure you want to be there? I mean, I'm sure you'll fit right in, but
oh,
it's not a Sofa Squad stream until I've roasted Stool. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
My obligatory snark makes it that much funnier.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pleased to report to anyone and everyone watching that I'm doing a lot better than I was when you last caught me in on the sofa. That day, I actually had just gotten home from the hospital, but I've been out for it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. And as you can tell, I'm not struggling to breathe like I was. I did have a brief scare going back to the ER over the weekend, but that was turned out to be stress related. My blood was actually too thin, so my blood thinner dose has been chopped. And ew, Stool, you're disgusting. And so now I'm just getting blood work every week until my doctor determines whether I'm on the correct dose of blood thinner. And after that, it could be every 2 weeks. It could be every month. It just depends how things go. So I'll be on the blood thinners between 3 and 6 months. And after that, we'll just see. But I won't be doing the constant overtime anymore. So I'll probably have Thursdays off on a consistent basis again, which will make for a much better, I won't be having to rush off stream every Thursday to go back to bed for work anymore.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'd like to get out of there, though. My direct supervisor's leaving, and I just know the general manager's going to try to dump all the overtime onto me, even with the medical restrictions. So at least with the note, I can tell her to go fuck herself, and if she fires me, I can sue.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's a silver lining in every cloud.
Why silver, though? I would think platinum would be so much more valuable.
Yes. Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. And I also would like to apologize to everybody for missing on the sofa last week, but I had a little problem with my electricity and would have had no internet anyway, so it would have been kind of pointless for me to try. But that is being resolved as well. So hopefully we won't have any more hiccups going forward.
And
in fact, I'm in my home with power right now, and I'm using my phone today because Josh has taken over the living room for the day and he's playing Stardew Valley, so I'm just gonna sit here in the bedroom and use my phone because the Wi-Fi sucks if I try to use my laptop in the bedroom. So
Hmm.
life sucks and then you die. So fuck the world and let's get high. But not really. Drugs are bad.
Okay. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Oh my god, I didn't know you liked South Park.
I used to like it back in the day, but
Oh, it jumped the shark.
yeah.
And then the whale. And then the orca. And then the sunfish, which is a shame because ocean sunfish are actually one of my favorite sea creatures. They're so peaceful, just flopping around, totally brainless.
And we've got Nerdy in the chat. He's drinking
Nerdy.
onion. He's drinking onion milk apparently.
I'm gonna go throw up now because that sounds disgusting.
We've got Laura.
Oh, Laura's here.
Hello there.
Hi, Laura. A while.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh my god. Well,
Can
I'm
you
a
hear me
lot
okay?
better than I was.
Oh, why? Did you get sick?
Oh, you didn't hear what happened to me?
I don't know.
2 weeks ago, I almost died of a pulmonary embolism.
Oh my gosh.
Had a nice big golf ball of blood in my lungs. So.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That didn't happen.
Oh no. Mike, didn't we talk about being a little more exclusive with the party? Didn't we have this conversation?
We've got Larry Lightbulb in the stream as well now.
Larry Lightbulb? Is that what you're calling yourself today? Well, you're kind of a dim one, aren't you? There he is. Hi, stool.
It's actually quite annoying because I've just taken my makeup off.
Oh.
So I might have had my camera on. But...
You're hoping that I'm going to say something I'm not.
Oh, yeah, you're busy playing Stardew Valley. No, I got up because I can't sit down all the time, Yeah, I have to move around every hour or so that my legs don't form more blood clots.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I'm going to have to be careful with that too because I've had a couple of fainting episodes lately.
Oh,
due to my legs, ironically. So thanks to lockdown, I put on 3.5 stone, which is about 3.5. Sorry, about nearly 50 pounds.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
I know. I went from 20 stone, got down to 17.5, 17.75, and I've gone and put all that on plus an extra one.
Well, I've gone up 2 jean sizes, so you're not the only one.
Mm.
Oh please, I'm the heaviest I've ever been. But under normal circumstances, they would have looked at that and the fact that I, until recently, was a fairly heavy cigarette smoker as causes of the embolism I had. But I'm only 27. Fun fact for everybody. So that was.
Older than you.
Oh my goodness, you're old enough to be my mom. But no, I was considered too young to have developed just because of that.
I am your mom.
It's a funny coincidence because
you're not my real mom, stool.
It's a funny coincidence you say that because I nearly became someone's mom last year.
Oh my goodness, did you have a pregnancy scare?
Sort of. What happened was I went and bought myself a new DVD player and I'm coming out of the store and it's like a supermarket, and so as I'm leaving, and of course I'm wearing a mask as well, this older lady's coming in and I sort of stopped to let her go first, sort of put my hand out to say, you first. And she went, no, pregnant women go first.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And I stopped. I laughed and I said, "I'm not pregnant. I'm just fat." And she went, "Oh my gosh!" And I said, "Not only that, I'm transgender, so I couldn't get pregnant even if I tried." And she was like really embarrassed by it, but I said, don't worry about it. I've never had anyone say that to me before. I thought it was funny.
That's got to be, in a weird way, that's got to be so validating.
Yeah, exactly. It's like for just a couple of seconds in her mind, I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So like I say, I almost became someone's mum in a kind of weird way.
Yeah, one of our other dear trans friends in the community, she and I were talking one day, and she said something about her boobs hurting, and I was like, well, that's part of being a woman. And she said to me, you have no idea how weirdly validating that is. So I don't know how I developed this talent, but I guess I just have this weird way of just saying shit, and it ends up making people feel, making my trans friends feel good about their identities. It's like, well, I was raised in an environment where that was considered no big deal, and I don't. That's why I don't like the transphobia and homophobia. It's just so against my values. That's not how I was raised. I mean, my mom's a piece of work. Anyone who follows her on Twitter knows that. But I mean, the one thing, one of my best memories of this woman was one of my friends came out as trans. I had met her as a gay boy, and she came out as trans about a year or so after we became friends. And I told my mom about it, and my mom just slipped right into made every effort, no dead naming, no misgendering. And at one point she said, when I first told her, she said to me, I always thought Amber was too pretty to be a boy anyway, so this all works out. Like it's just treated as no big deal. Like, okay, big whoop, somebody's trans. Sometimes they're born in the wrong body. What's the big deal? Why treat them as anything less than, a person?
Yeah. Well, my fainting episodes was something a bit different. So I had two of them. And the first one, so what it is, I'm tall, and my shower is only maybe a couple of inches above my head. The I don't know, the streaming part, what do you call it, the head? The shower head is only a few inches above me. So unless I want to sort of, twist myself around to try and keep warm, what I end up doing, I sit on the floor. I sit in the bath because it's a bath type one. So it's just a mixer tap, goes up a hose, pumps out the top. So, I'll be sitting sideways, cross-legged in the bath. Well, because I've put on weight, my legs are a bit fat in places, and so it cuts off the circulation to my knee, to my feet a bit.
Well,
so what happened was I'd get up and I would stand up in the shower, and the blood will rush to your head, and after a few minutes it would normally fade away. But this time it didn't, and I found myself thinking, I need to get out of the bath before I fall. So I got out and I sat on the side of the bath, and the next thing I know, I'm sat on the floor. Sort of suddenly like come to, and it's like, why am I on the floor? And like naked, and
well, at least it was your bathroom and not someone else's.
Well, yeah. So that was the first one. And then the second one, same kind of thing happened. I stood up, and I'm sort of holding onto the shower rail, which is, good and secure. And I'm thinking, it's going to go away in a couple of seconds. And the next thing you know, I came to as I'm falling. And so I basically dropped to a squat in the bathroom, in the bath, sideways, because I was leaning against the wall. And it pulled the muscles in the back of my ankles, sort of thigh area. Ankles to the calf muscle at the back. The groin in the left muscle, and also in my back a bit as well. And I couldn't get up. It was actually scary because I couldn't get up. I couldn't lift myself up because my muscles had been pulled. Yeah, so I ended up having to sort of use my arms and push myself over onto my side. So I ended up like falling sideways in the bath, squirming around because it's, because the water is slippery and everything. And so I had to sort of twist myself around and then just sit there and wait for the giddiness to go away. So now I've got to have when I have a shower, I've got to do it in a different way now. So I'll sit cross-legged as normal, but then I'll rotate myself sideways with my feet sitting like you're sitting in the bath. And then when all the blood's going back to my feet again and everything's not feeling numb anymore, that's when I can get up and finish off the rest.
Well, have you spoken to somebody about this? I mean, I think your healthcare program over there is a lot more civilized than ours is here. Have you are you going to be consulting any kind of professional about this?
Well, funnily enough, tomorrow I'm having a blood test, a blood pressure attached to me for a day.
I think I think this is something worth mentioning to a medical team here. If that happened to me, Josh would be on my ass. I'd be, honestly, the first time it happened, he'd marched my ass into an emergency room. This is no joke. You could get hurt or die or something.
Well, I phoned up my doctors to ask about it, and it's like, and really they're most worried about, did I hit my head? And it's like, no, perfectly fine in that regard. And I feel fine. It was just those few moments where, your sort of brain is swelling in the sort of like the fuzzy vision almost. It's almost like pixelated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just that weird kind of thing, and then just the falling over was quite alarming.
Yeah, it must have been.
I would be terrified.
Yeah, but I'm fine now. Like I say, ever since I've started rotating myself and sitting in the bath with the water going over me while I wait for my feet to wake up again, to stop, once they've stopped being numb, I can get up and do it as normal. So, like I say, it just really what it comes down to, I just need to lose the libs. I need to lose the pounds and, stop. I'm not eating as much now.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in that. I'm trying to lose a significant amount of weight myself, so no, that's not the only contributing factor to what happened to me. Like the two hospitals now and my doctor have all concluded that my job did this to me, and we all know I worked in hell. So, work in hell. I'm going back tonight, so I'm just at this point I just have to mitigate risk factors.
Can you get sick pay from Beelzebub?
Oh, please. The owner's already illegally not paying my boss overtime she was due from all the hours she worked when I was in the hospital. Sick pay is a pipe dream.
Yeah. It's one of the things that always baffles me with Americans. It's like, oh, yeah, we got this great system and great healthcare. And it's like, yeah, but only if you're rich. And there's no time off. You don't get paid if you have time off. Holiday pay? What's that? Sick pay? What's that?
Yeah, it's very rare to find a decent employer that offers that anymore. Now, hopefully that will change, because one bright side of the pandemic, at least over here, is that people are starting to realize their worth. Early on in the pandemic, most people were stuck at home because, stay-at-home orders, anything that wasn't life-sustaining was shut down. So people are starting to realize, hey, that old job treated me like crap. And they're not going back to the jobs that treated and paid them like crap.
I've heard about that with restaurants.
Yes, especially with restaurants. Because, here in America, the restaurant business is really terrible to work in. I worked as a hostess in a diner for a while, so I wasn't subjected to this. But servers can legally make less than half the federal minimum wage. It's called the tip wage, because customer tips are expected to make up the difference.
Oh, right. Okay.
I've also worked on commission, where I had an hourly rate of $4 an hour. The federal minimum is $7.25.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Oh, it's insane, the tipping culture here. And then servers, I feel bad for servers here, because they've been very much brainwashed into thinking that, their way of doing things with the tipped wage, that's somehow acceptable. And everybody's so afraid, if servers are paid a decent wage, that'll make the food more expensive. Okay, well, going out to eat is expensive anyway, and it should not be the customer's responsibility to make up for the fact that your employer pays like shit.
I first learnt about the tipping culture, the American tipping culture from Reservoir Dogs.
You know, I've never seen Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, you should. It's brilliant. It's a masterpiece.
Many people tell me I should see that. You know, that's a running joke. Any stream I happen to join out of my own boredom turns into what Chinese has never seen. Insert movie here, because there are so many movies I have not seen that everybody thinks I should have seen. My own mother is shocked and just flabbergasted that I've never seen E.T.
Oh my gosh, my brother watched E.T. when he was a little kid, and he got so upset that he wanted it off, and my mum's like, no, keep watching it, because she knew the ending of it, and he's like, no, he's dead. Little brother cried his eyes out. But about Reservoir Dogs, though, or rather Quentin Tarantino, I think Quentin Tarantino would be the perfect director for a movie version of Macbeth or Hamlet, because it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Pretty much everybody dies, which is the description of those two plays.
Oh, Quentin Tarantino. I've also never seen the Kill Bill movies, but I am pleased to say I have seen Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
I do like Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is a great movie. Anything Samuel L. Jackson is right up my alley.
I must admit, I have been tempted. There's something called a Hornet, which is like a little bell thing you can get for your bike, but instead of being like a ding ding or something like that, it just like makes noise instead. But you can also record things on these things. So I can imagine having one button where when I press it, it's got Samuel L. Jackson going, "Get off the damn phone!" Because the amount of people I see using their phone while driving is frightening.
I'm honestly a shameless phone user while I drive. I'm not even gonna lie. I think I actually co-hosted an episode of On the Sofa while driving.
Yeah, please don't do that, and I'll tell you the reason why. Now I'm going to go with British numbers here. I don't know what the numbers are in America, but they across the world they do relate. So using a hands-free and legal phone is the distraction equivalent being twice over the drink drive limit. Holding it to your head is 3 times over. Texting is 6 times over, and you can't even walk at 6 times over. So it's really dangerous, and people die from it, and often it's the driver as well. So please don't, because I'd rather you survive.
The jury's out on whether I agree. I'd rather I survive, but I consider myself lucky that I did with this recent medical scare, so maybe I don't have as much of a death wish as I thought I did. It remains to be seen.
And COVID, I think COVID has taught us how interconnected we are socially as a culture. As much as we have this idea of, you want to have your own space and things like that, not going to work or not being able to go to the shops or et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, well, the isolation. Yeah.
It's shown how awful isolating is.
Stool is raising his hand to speak. Yes, Stool, can we help you?
I've just remembered I forgot to warn Mike and Laura, because you're near to me. Stay away, because where I live, going through the roof again.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that on your in your DMs. It's why is that happening?
I think the scientific answer would be everybody's a dick. That's my take.
That sounds about accurate.
So, what's going on?
In the town in which I live, not too far away from yourself, case case numbers have doubled in the last 7 days.
Oh,
And
great.
I think it's the Indian variant.
Mm.
Because
the the one that's really easy to catch, the really easily transmissible one.
Yeah, that's the one. The one that we forgot to put India on the red, you can't come here if you're from their list.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that was
Unfortunately-
useful.
No bueno.
Yeah, unfortunately, the India is having such a bad thing that if we were to use a green, amber, red kind of idea as you know, sort of traffic light system for
Stop if it's black.
how scary a situation is. Yeah, India is basically very, very dark maroon.
Hmm.
Speaking of COVID, I mean, I guess this is a bad time to announce that I'm fully vaccinated as of 2 days ago.
I'm almost vaccinated. I should have had my second one the other day, but I didn't feel very well and I had to cancel. And so I've just got to get another one soon. Or sorry, get the second one soon.
Well, I really hope you get it soon.
I've had the first.
I had the Pfizer shot, so I got my 2 shots right in perfect timing of each other, and I actually took yesterday and Monday off work. I could have gone back to work Monday, but I took Monday and yesterday off because I wasn't sure how the second shot was going to affect me.
Yeah, the first shot made me sick. I had it done on a Friday afternoon. By sort of midnight-ish, this kind of time on that day, I ended up shivering, like violent shivering, like I was shaking like I, Alzheimer's or something, really bad Alzheimer's, where I just couldn't keep my hands still. And I ended up going to bed with 2 duvets off me and just freezing in that as well. And I ended up having to get up and having a hot shower to warm myself up, which worked. And then eventually I was able to go to sleep. And then I woke up dripping in sweat. It was the extremes, like flu-like symptom kind of thing. And then I had the same thing the day after. And then on Sunday afternoon, it just disappeared. I was fine.
The travel ban things can work, as was just said, hello New Zealand. But the thing is, we're shit in this country. And we put the wrong countries on the don't come here if you're from their list. And the people who do come from there, they're supposed to, if they're from one of the naughty places, they're supposed to isolate in a hotel.
Odd places. That just sounds like something you would tell a child.
They arrive here and technically they're supposed to have taken a test before leaving for here, take another one when they get here, isolate themselves in a COVID hotel at their own expense, during which they have to pay for 4 more tests. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's really going to happen.
Civilized that they'd have to even pay for testing. Here, testing is free.
Well, you have to remember.
Those are foreign people. We hate foreigners.
This is true, yeah.
Remember.
But it's not just.
Yeah, you guys are kind of xenophobic, aren't you?
It's not just the dirty foreigners, because when it kicked off last year, in this town, this was the first town in the UK to go into super duper lockdown. Before any of you fuckers, we were like, they were painting crosses on our doors and all sorts. There was a man walking down the street with a bell, pulling a cart.
Bring out your dead.
Bring out your dead. Was that like actually? Like, did that really happen?
No.
Yeah, that really happened. But when that happened, and our numbers went through the roof, that was caused by one person. I mentioned
Boris Johnson.
Well, yeah.
No. We don't say the B word in this. We don't say the B word in this channel except on Thursday.
There was this one guy who'd been on holiday to Spain, and he came back to this town, and immediately upon arrival, he went on a pub crawl. And gave everybody a little bit of COVID, and the numbers went very quickly.
That was nice.
Oh, wonderful.
So, do travel bans work? Well, they can do, but you've got to kind of put some effort into doing it properly.
Is the banning part?
Mm.
Yeah, there was an amusing one with the India one where a plane left India to go to, I can't remember where it was now, and they all had COVID passports.
Oh,
And by the time the plane had landed, 3 hours later, half of the plane was sick. It's like, I wonder, because of course it doesn't take a couple of hours to become apparent. It takes a week or so in order to become apparent that you've got it.
Anywhere between 2 and 14 days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There are ways around it as well, because if you're not technically allowed to fly into this country, let's say England and Wales, you can go to Scotland and then drive to England or Wales, or you can go via another country. So it just doesn't work like that.
No.
It works if you're New Zealand. But
the one thing that I can say that we've done well in this country is that
this shouldn't take long.
Yeah. We did go a little bit crazy on just like, being the kid in the sweetie shop and sort of buying everything.
Oh, yeah.
So basically what we ended up doing, we bought
toilet paper.
Every company that was creating a vaccine, we just said, we'll have 1 million doses, please, or 5 million doses.
And in the sweetie shop, we just elbowed all the other kids in the face and said, fuck off, it's ours.
Yeah. So basically what happened
Dad
was...
do to evade travel bans, Nerdy wrote it. Enlighten me. What did he do? Somebody tell me.
Well, he basically fucked off out the country to one of his, one of his holiday houses, or mansions, or whatever you want to call them, that he's got in other countries, and he left the country.
He's done it several times. The rules do not apply to him, of course.
Yeah.
Did he ever get that apology letter from the condom factory for creating Boris in the first place?
But his excuse was, I need to make sure that my holiday home is COVID compliant.
Yeah, likely story.
Yeah, that'd be like someone who decided to drive, sort of 200 miles, and then later go on a drive to make sure their eye vision worked properly, which was the sort of a spin doctor assistant for Boris Johnson.
Oh, he's doing his thing in May, I think it is. He's going to stand up and spill the beans.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a lot of beans to be spilled.
I think so. I think we're talking a big plate of beans here. But if you've been paying attention,
there's a lot of beans all the time.
Oh, Heinz
today,
has been supplying plenty of tins to him.
But almost said it. Johnson did his little speech today in the House of Commons, and he announced that there's going to be this thorough investigation into how the COVID situation was handled in this country. Blah, 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 blah. But the theory is he's announced that to distract and probably get him before Cummings does.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what's basically happened is we went and ordered loads of vaccines for anybody who was developing them. And as they started to come out, we were able to start vaccinating earlier, which pissed off Europe because they left it until later when, it's like, okay, we're close to having a solution here. We're now doing testing. And that's when Europe decided to pay to buy some vaccines. And so then they got pissy when, we didn't want to supply the AstraZeneca ones as much as they wanted because we were treating our own people, and because of Brexit and all that kind of nonsense, there's still effects from that. But in the meantime of all that kind of stuff, Boris and his buddies, gave out loads of contracts. Yep. Gave out load of contracts for PPE and all sorts of other things from their pals, close pals, or people that they've got financial interests in, etc., etc. So, it's
like it's veering into on the sofa territory.
Oh yeah, it's effectively very, very similar to Iraq War kicks off, and Dick Cheney and his pals make sure that the companies that they've got big investments in get the contracts. So do I think the high 9/11 was an inside job stuff? No. Did they make money out of it? Oh yeah.
I don't know if I 100% believe the official story about 9/11, but I don't 100% think it was an inside job either. I don't think I have enough information to draw a conclusion, so I usually leave that alone.
I could give the answers, but effectively, do you remember the start of The Matrix?
I believe I do. I haven't watched those movies in a while, but I have seen them.
Okay, it's the very start where you've got Trinity at computer and the police go in.
Oh, yes.
And, and so the guy at the bottom, the police sergeant or whatever, you were told not to go in. You can take your Burris My Diction and stick it up your ass kind of thing. No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead. I think that's good. Now, the thing is, that whole jurisdiction, I flew into Newark Airport, which is where one of the hijacked planes flew from. I flew in 6 weeks after 9/11. And flying, I would stay at the local O'Connor Lodge in Elizabeth, which is the sort of next town over. So in that small place, it was just a cheap hotel. I was only staying for the night.
But Elizabeth, though, I mean, if you're going to be in North Jersey, at least. Oh my God, North Jersey's pretty dirty. If you're going to fly into Newark, at least go a little ways down to Woodbridge, where it's relatively civilized.
Yeah, so
you could at least put some more effort in and stolen an airplane or something.
So, but even in that small area, you have multiple police departments. You've got New York Police Department. You got the Port Authority Police. You got the New York and New Jersey State Police. You've got Elizabeth Police. You've even got Newark Police down the road as well, and that's all in a small area. And because they all have their jurisdiction, they don't like. Oh, by the way, an FBI as well. But because they've all got their own jurisdiction, they don't like communicating with each other. So basically, stuff was going on. People reported it, but they didn't really pass it up the chain very well, and no one figured out figured where all these dots were and joined them up to make. Oh, look, there's a problem that's going to happen here. People are trying to do this stuff, and it was only afterwards. Suddenly, it's like, oh, if only we'd have seen the signs. The signs were there, and they
were just too stupid to look at them.
Yeah, and this is why Homeland Security exists, because it's supposed to be an overarching thing to sort of, to join all those different jurisdictions together, and they're kind of useless at it as well. So all you've got is another one with its own authority.
That's typical with the multiple different authorities not communicating with each other, especially in the state of New Jersey. I had the misfortune of being employed by a New Jersey government office for a short time in 2016. I was doing background checks for rental assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, none of the agencies that gave me the information that I needed, none of them talked to each other. The counties didn't talk to each other. Nobody contacted Social Security about anything. I had to teach people how to verify someone's Social Security number when there was a question as to whether it belonged to them. Keep in mind, I was 22 years old, young enough to be these people's kids. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you do if the number's not matching the person? You tell them to go get proof from Social Security. Why am I having to tell you this?
Yeah.
But as far as 9/11 goes, there are questions that remain unanswered. That's
why I don't believe the official story. There are too many holes in it.
Well, such as what?
Don't you give me that look, stool.
There really aren't any holes in it.
How did Building 7?
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that one, Mike. I thought better of you. I thought better of you. I really did. You're going to do that one?
Are you being serious? Are you joking?
Are you going to let me speak? Or are you just going to shout over me and not listen?
Ooh.
But how did it catch on fire? There's never been there's never been explained.
Yes, it has.
Go on then.
Big things that were on fire fell on it.
Yeah.
From that kind of a distance?
No,
It was across the street. It wasn't very far away.
Plus, the building that the plane went in, very tall. Yeah, tall, far away, very tall. So things don't just they kind of like this, and they land on things and they set on fire. All the cars that set on fire as well as that building.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have set on fire as much as it did, though. And then it came down.
Here's the thing. This is the thing.
And then it came down like a control. It came down
Are you okay?
Yes.
like a controlled explosion.
Oh, fuck off! You're taking the piss now.
No.
Yeah, I need to know. Are you being serious now? Because that one has been explained.
Well,
Explained by who? Bush?
No, it was the NIST report did that. And also, what was the other guy? I forgot who it was now. It's one of those not a magazine but a society kind of thing.
What are you motherfuckers gonna tell us next? That Epstein killed himself?
Yeah, okay, basically what happened with that, because the whole idea of controlled explosions just makes no sense at all. Because, my answer is simply, if it's a controlled explosion, why the planes? Okay?
Diversion tactic.
Yeah, so in order to make this work, so you would have to rig the building for demolition. So you'd have your explosives on the columns. You'd have wires that go to a control box which would receive a radio signal, which would then, once that signal gets to it, it says, right, blow up now. And that's when it happens. That's when the collapse would start. So you've got to crash a plane at 500 miles an hour into two buildings without damaging any explosives, any control boxes, or any wires. And then you got to have that area on fire for an hour without damaging any control boxes, wires, or explosives. And you've got to have a bit of one building land on another building so that they can start a fire there, so you can bring that building down by controlled demolition as well. There are too many things that can go wrong. The easiest way to do this, if it was a controlled demolition, is rig your explosives, and then you get the terrorists to phone in the bomb scare, and or just do it on their own, And
if they phoned in the bomb
and when I say
scare,
the terrorists, I mean
resulted in an evacuation, and that wouldn't have achieved the goal of mass casualties.
That's right. This is what the IRA have done in the past. They set explosions, they call in a special word, and they evacuate the area. Sometimes they evacuate it so people go in the area where the second bomb is as well. But anyway, but no, let's say it was the US government. If they're being nice, they can call in a bomb scare and everyone gets out and they blow up the building, Or if they're not being nice, they blow up the building with people in it. And then they could just fabricate evidence to say that Al Qaeda did it, or Bin Laden did it, or Saddam did it, or Gaddafi did it,
and you're certain that's not exactly what happened?
Yeah, but no, because that doesn't involve planes. The scenario I just said doesn't involve planes.
The planes were a diversionary tactic.
But they make a system not work. It becomes a not feasible controlled demolition, because you can't have if the plane crashes at floor 80 area, and the building starts to fall apart at 60, people say, hang on, why is that gone? That's not right. So you have to crash the plane where the explosives are, which is bloody hard in a plane anyway. So, it just makes it a non-starting position. It becomes an uncontrolled demolition. Too many things can go wrong. And when things go wrong, that's how people get caught. So like I say, it really is a bad one. And I've come across, before I got involved in great debate type stuff, I used to, deal with 9/11 truther videos and stuff like that. Before, you'll find my messages all over, comments on ones that still exist. Many have been deleted. My absolute favorite one, and it made me laugh so much. So building number 7 came down sort of in the evening time, in the UK anyway. So like late afternoon, I think it was in the US. So what happened was, you've got BBC America, as it's called there, but it was actually BBC News 24, and it's just transmitted all over. So BBC News, it's like, well, there's the third building that's collapsed off to New York to Jane Stanley, and she's there saying, details are sketchy, which is newspeak for unconfirmed report. That third building has collapsed, and it's the Solomon buildings, yada, yada, yada. And over her shoulder, you can see the building's still there. And what happened was that that Reuters news agency, which is they're an organization that sort of sends news feeds all over the place. Associated Press, similar thing. They don't necessarily have a TV channel that they transmit on. They provide it out to news organizations all over the world. And the reason this works is if something happened in Bumsville, Idaho, and nobody really goes there, well, they'll send the local people, and if it's something a bit bigger, they might send the people in, the sort of, the bigger places. And if it's a really big thing, then they'll send them from New York and LA and all of America and all over the world. So what happens if something happens, the local news will transmit about it, and that will go and that will be sent all over the world so people can report on it wherever they are. So what happened was, they reported that it had collapsed, but it hadn't collapsed yet. My guess is that in a really busy day where lots of people are shouting over each other because, news is crazy that day, and lots of things were wrong as well. I mean, at one point, I remember there were 20 planes that had been hijacked, and actually most of them hadn't reported to the radio because they weren't expecting to be called. So what happened was, the reason why the BBC were in on it, the reason why they got it wrong was because of the clock change. And I left a comment saying, a bit of a problem, the clocks change in October. And then they insisted, and this is like over 3 days, because I'd leave a message today and then they'd read it tonight, and I'd wake up tomorrow and there's an answer. So the next day they'd insisted that it was because the BBC were in it and they got it wrong because of the clock change. And I was snarky with them. I said, it's a good conspiracy with only two problems. One, the clocks change in October, and two, the clocks change in October. Now I know that strictly speaking, that's only one problem, but I thought it was such a big problem, it was worth mentioning twice.
Ah, okay.
The next day, I woke up and they changed it. The reason why the BBC announced it early was because they were using European time. So the BBC at 0 hours GMT, because Britain's the centre of the world, everything is either +1, 10 hours in front of us, or 5 hours behind in terms of the East Coast. So what happened was, so the BBC at 0 hours GMT used European time at +1 hours to talk to their New York office at -5 hours in a room full of clocks. Because the BBC Television Centre newsroom, where they collated all the information stuff before it going off to the studios for broadcasting the news, it was a circular room. It had clocks all the way around it. So if you want to know what time it is in Delhi, you'd look to your right and see what time it is in Delhi. You want to know what time it's in Australia, you look further back behind you and see what time it's in Australia. You look to your left, there it is in New York. You look further left, there it is in LA. That kind of thing. So, and it's like, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. So, and what it made me realize is these conspiracy theorist types, flat earthers are exactly the same. They don't care about what is true. They only care about what they want to be true. And they'll just dismiss anything that doesn't fit, what they think is right.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, don't misunderstand me. I was just playing devil's advocate. I don't believe that it was really an inside job.
Okay.
But I don't
know if I think it was an inside job, but like I said, there are holes in the official story, and there's also people had something to gain from this. Look at Halliburton. They stood to gain money.
Hang on though, but that was the thing I said before. Was Dick Cheney behind it? No. Did Dick Cheney make money by making sure Halliburton, a company that he had shares in, get contracts? Oh yeah. Did he make money out of it, out of the crisis and the war in Iraq? Absolutely.
Josh, I'm not giving you money to buy V-Bucks for a shark costume. He's giving me a puppy dog face because he wants a shark costume in Fortnite.
Horrifying.
It's like having an overgrown 8-year-old.
Is this a dog?
No, it's a boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Boyfriend. Yeah. A very, very annoying boyfriend.
Who wants a shark costume?
He wants a shark costume for his video game character.
Oh, okay.
And he's got microtransactions to buy stuff in Fortnite, and I'm not. I told him I will let him get V-Bucks once a paycheck, and he already had his once a paycheck, so it sucks to be him if he wants his shark costume.
I just want that to Max Taylor.
See, Laura doesn't know about Josh the way the rest of this squad does. Josh is just kind of the annoying peanut gallery in most of the streams that I come into. Never forget the Titan Uranus incident.
The thing is, like you were saying about Halliburton and whatever, this is exactly the same thing that's gone on with COVID. Do I think that Boris Johnson was behind COVID? No. Do I think that Boris Johnson and his pal made money out of giving their friends contracts, which would give them money? Absolutely.
He's in trouble again today.
Boris Johnson is always in trouble.
What was it this time? His bathroom?
Oh, he's got a CCJ against him, a county court judgment, because he's not. he owed 500 quid and he never paid it, so he's got a CCJ.
Well, that sounds like the least of his problems. Considering, I mean, do you even watch on the sofa? Mike and I spend 80% of our shows every week talking about whatever it is Boris Johnson did this time.
Yeah. It's actually,
we might as well at this point, why are we calling it on the sofa? We might as well just call it on Boris Johnson's case. Because that's what we do. We sit there, this motherfucker Boris Johnson, insert whatever he did this time here. Now, granted, we do have our awesome other sections, like the ridiculous Republicans. Boris is not a girl's name, but Boris Johnson is a bitch.
But tomorrow's on the sofa. I think it's going to have to go on for at least 2 hours.
Probably.
Ooh, boy.
Because we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do. And don't worry, Josh. I put in that fluff piece I found about the person saving the duckies. So.
Quack, quack.
Yeah. Laura doesn't know. My boyfriend is hopelessly
unhealthy obsession with dogs.
He has this unhealthy, terrifying obsession with ducks. He loves ducks. He wants a pet duck. It's
duck, as in quack quack.
As in quack quack.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's
as in quack quack.
So
that sounds like quite a malarkey. Oh.
Malarkey.
Okay, F.A.
Yeah, but I was going mallard, as in duck. Mallard key.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but
I stretched the boundaries a bit too much there.
Malardicky.
So cute. Leave them alone.
Oh yeah, Stool says ducks are assholes, Josh.
I said no such thing.
Well, you definitely were talking shit about ducks at one point in a stream together recently, and you said something about ducks being dicks.
Ducks are absolute dicks, but I've never said that.
Geese. Geese are horrible.
Yeah, geese. Ducks.
Geese are Satan. Geese are Lucifer incarnate.
Ducks are like the cutest
And they're
thing.
sharp, and their mouths are sharp inside. They got not so much teeth as serrated things that really hurt.
Yeah, I don't do geese. I'm terrified of geese. Everyone who knows me knows about the time I had to call my mom to pick me up off the side of the road because geese were chasing me.
I was stalked by geese last year.
That's
Not geese, sorry, ducks. I was sorry. Excuse me. Let me try that again. I was stalked by ducks last year.
You were stalked by ducks?
Yeah.
You should feel honored.
Well, what happened was, sorry, no, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. Sorry, it was the summer of 2019, and I really fancied scrambled egg, but I didn't have any bread. So I went to the supermarket and bought a loaf of bread. And on my way home, I came by the canal because it was a really nice day. And so I sort of gave some of the bread to the ducks. And then I decided to walk home a sort of longer way, continue down the canal, because it was a nice day. And so there was some more ducks, so I fed them. And then I, sort of followed down towards the end and then fed a few more. So I had about, I'd lost about a third of a loaf, which no big deal. And then I came to a bridge and went over it and looked back, and there were about 45 ducks that had followed me all the way down about half a mile.
I think you just made Josh jealous. He wants to be followed by like 40 ducks.
Jesus Christ, I'd be in heaven.
Like we were driving home the other day. We were running some errands and we passed this park, and I happened to see a rainbow. And one of the weird little quirks about me is that if I see a rainbow, I have to photograph it, because rainbows are one of the few things in life that actually make me genuinely happy. And so we pulled into this park for me to take pictures, and then suddenly we saw ducks in the river. So Josh had to be the one that was pried out of the park. So that was fun. Like, oh, there's ducks, and he didn't want to leave all of a sudden.
Oh. Does Josh have a collection of ceramic ducks by any chance?
No, but I think you just gave him ideas. Actually, wait, now I just looked. Yes, we do have a few ceramic ducks.
I thought
I didn't even know we had them. He just now I just found out that we do in fact own ceramic ducks, and now you just gave him ideas. So now whenever we get the hell out of this dump and into a decent apartment, we're probably going to have a shelf dedicated to ceramic ducks.
Oh, they were going to be those little ducks.
Yeah, but now you're probably going to add more to the collection.
Possible.
Yeah, my life revolves around my boyfriend's obsession with ducks and my 3-year-old's obsession with unicorns.
Oh.
Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Okay.
It was so funny. We were actually hanging out with her the other day after I picked up a prescription after my COVID shot. And my daughter loves people's keys. And she got a hold of mine, which was really terrifying considering I had pepper spray on them. And she's like looking at the different keychains, and she asked me, "What's this, Mommy? What's that, Mommy? What's this, Mommy?" And I'm like, you can give me those back now, because you're going to hurt yourself. Oh, microsigh. My child is going to be the death of me.
She is awesome.
The ugliest bird I've ever seen was a baby pigeon.
I think baby pigeons are adorable.
Which part? Is it the shitting everywhere, or is it the ugliest beak you've ever seen in your
All
life?
birds shit everywhere.
It was
you
on
want
the
to see
balcony.
an ugly
though.
bird? You want to see an ugly bird? The condors, man. Condors are some ugly motherfuckers.
Pigeons are basically doves on crystal meth.
He's not wrong.
Doves on crystal meth. What?
Man's ain't wrong.
I think depending on where they are, pigeons can also be considered rats with wings.
Oh yeah.
It confused me because they would rather walk.
Yeah, I've got a picture to share if I can. This was something that came to prominence recently due to a bit of an issue. You had the same problem in America with statues being removed.
Oh my god. Oh, I think I saw that. Oh yes, the poor pigeons are gonna lose their bathroom. Oh no, statue removal.
Anyway,
We finally got rid of the cockatiels. The little dickhead cockatiels that used to
Those
screech.
fucking bastards.
They used to squawk and
Do they remember
screech.
that?
Yeah, I would sit out here on the sofa, and the dickheads would be squawk, squawk, screech, screech every 5 seconds. Yeah,
Oh my god, it was the most obnoxious thing ever. I fucking hated them.
yeah, they have been rehomed. Now we have
Two perfect little turtles.
we have these two turtles that we had anyway, but they're very well behaved. But I
mean, Jaws is a bitch, but
I was actually in Coffee with Lavender a couple Sundays ago, and one of the turtles kept trying to climb on his rock,
he
and
kept falling and hitting his head.
he kept falling off his rock and bumping his head on the side of the tank. And I'm like, Jaws, dude, let us help you. But then Josh would pick him up and put him on his rock, and he would jump off his rock into the water as if he was insulted. That we assumed he could do it himself because he's a big boy.
Several years ago, I tried having cockatoos, but I ended up having to rehome them.
Oh no, cockatoos are even worse. We had cockatiels, the little ones.
Cockatiels,
Cockatoos are parrots with mohawks.
Well, I had to rehome them in the ground because they wouldn't stop squawking. That was a joke. That was a joke, not a real story.
No. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. For a minute, you scared me there. I think you scared Josh because Josh thought you actually killed the damn birds. But
No.
But anyway, we've been chatting. It's just gone midnight. We've been chatting for over an hour now, and so I'm going to wrap things up. And
all right.
And I believe Sam Chaos has got his pub religion stream thing that he's done. I think that's just starting over on his channel. So I just thought I'd give that a quick plug. And tomorrow night, 10 p.m., which I believe is 4 p.m. Central Time, we've got On the Sofa. So
be there or be square, motherfuckers.
Exactly. And so do join us for that. It's a doozy, as I believe some folks say in America.
Only if they're past a certain age. That's kind of an old people word now, or really more of an old surfer word.
What, gnarly?
No, doozy.
It's
I've never heard anybody say that. What?
It's going to be a big one. That's what she said. But so yeah, do join us for On the Sofa tomorrow night. And but for now, I will say thanks for coming, and I'll say good night and
bye.
See you next time.
Everyone, see you tomorrow. Stool, that's really creepy.